What happens when you mix a city building simulation game with waves of RPG battles, world exploration, monster taming, and taxes? Gold Adventure Gold mixes countless genres of gameplay into one beautifully cohesive package, while adding two unique features that really enhance the game experience. Join me today as I explore why I think it's worth playing this game.
Hey, I'm Bao. I review video games. Welcome back to the channel.
One of my favorite aspects about reviewing games is discovering new releases from emerging developers. When I first heard about Gold Adventure Gold, a debut release from a newly formed studio, I just knew I had to dive into this chaotic gameplay experience and see for myself if the title strikes gold. Initially, when spawning into your new world, you'll have access to a whole variety of tasks and characters to interact with. But before we dive into all that, first and foremost, the most important decision to make is what god beast pet you want to adopt. Just look at these guys, the only thing they are slaying is my heart with those lifeless eyes and innocent smile, not a thought behind those eyes. I'm going for Rock Monkey, which I'll name Simmerstone. Simmerstone's favourite music genre must be rock and roll. Just check out these sweet moves he's using to roll around town. Let's let Simmerstone roam around in the lush, vibrant fields as we begin developing Bowtopia. Despite Simmerstone's, initial harmless impression, the town citizens should feel safe in their rocky grasp, as they have some extremely unique powers and exclusive features, which I'll cover later in the video, so be sure to keep watching until the end. The core objective of Gold Adventure Gold is to use your hard-earned money to defend your treasured castle building. The castle is the heart of your city. If the castle is invaded and attacked by enemies, it will be curtains for Bowtopia. But not so fast. Let's prevent those curtains from falling by constructing buildings which will help grow our defenses and population. I have exactly the building in mind to completely demolish these rolling grassy hills and attract new citizens. Quickly, to the fore, it is time to build a McDonald's next to a KFC in the middle of this beautiful forest scenery. What a beautiful sight. Constructing buildings is one of the main features of the game, alongside the RPG aspects of world exploration and battling. You are able to construct literal castle walls to assist with keeping enemies at bay, alongside buildings with specific functions such as increasing recruitable reinforcements and health regenerating fountains. Certain buildings have synergy combinations with nearby placed buildings, which are a delight to find, but it isn't essential to have these, so you can build and customize the layout of your town to your heart's desire. Buildings also have levels that can be upgraded to unlock new abilities. One of my favorite buildings is the Inn. Not only does this building have one of my favorite whimsical aesthetic designs, but it is also extremely practical as it allows your adventurers to journey together in party formations.
Looks like I made this just in time.
Maybe the real treasure is the cow friends we made along the way. But speaking of adventurers, let's uncover exactly what the residents of Bowtopia are up to in their day-to-day lives. One of the most common building types you will be investing in are recruitment buildings. These allow you to expand your adventurer army by hiring new hands. These adventurers will help you scout out new areas, defend your village, and perform just about any task you need. Let's go ahead and develop our very first recruitment center and construct the Moonastery, allowing us to recruit Mooladens. Just how quickly can these cowgirls run? I have a fantastic idea for a racing game for them. Whoever was in charge of naming these cows were on a roll. The newest recruits we have are Mutu and Elizabeth.
Hands down, this is utterly my favorite recruiter class.
Another detail I really like are the sound effects when interacting with your villagers. What's that guy's problem? Maybe stay away from them. He's been working the graveyard shift. With our newfound friends that are absolutely treasured and the best characters in the game, sorry Simmerstone, we are now able to confidently journey out and explore the surrounding areas. But everything in this game revolves around the gold currency, and I mean everything. In order to set out on expeditions and explore the surroundings in the game, it comes with a price. It seems that every single inhabitant in Bowtopia have their eyes set on only one thing, especially this mouse villager in particular. This little critter is the tax collector of the village. He will scurry between buildings and villages to collect their overdue tax payments.
Oh no, the tax mouse is coming! Quickly, someone get me some peanut butter and a tiny plank of wood to block his tiny mouse house door.
The bounty feature in this game is how you assign various tasks to your villagers. Simply click on an area, object, or enemy and right click to set a price. If you want a certain building to be protected with priority, you are able to place a defending task bounty on the building, using money. Similarly, if you are wanting to explore new land, you'll have to entice your adventurers with a bounty, more money.
But how much money does it cost to subscribe to the Wow It's About channel? Absolutely $0. What a steal! Thanks for supporting the channel.
Money is king, baby, or should I say, Mooney. Yep, which way is it to the door? Yes, thank you very much, I see a direction, but I will absolutely not be walking out the door because I will stand by my puns. And you didn't pay me a high enough bounty. You see, these bounties come with a catch. The interesting spin on the mechanic is the amount of gold you wager will increase its importance. By default, the bounty has 100 gold assigned, but this sometimes might not be enough money to entice villagers, with some tasks being flat out ignored if you have not wagered enough money. Bruh. Adding more gold to each bounty allows you to specifically choose which tasks are prioritized most, which adds a lot of variance to the bounty tasks. This is especially useful for exploring the map and holding down your fort as enemies start to invade. And this is just the beginning of the game's base mechanics, so be sure to stick around as I uncover my 2 personal favorite features which really drew me into playing the game. Speaking of exploring, when venturing through the map, you will eventually encounter a surrounding barrier which prevents you from advancing further. This is the map border which can be overcome by attempting to shatter border checkpoints.
I guess these guys are taking a different approach to border control.
Take caution when planning to attempt this, as shattering border checkpoints will spawn in enemies which are looking to throw down. This brings us to the battling mechanics of the title, which I think is one of the most enjoyable aspects of the game. As each night falls upon your village, you are tasked with surviving an onslaught of enemies, advancing through your village in a siege against your castle. Oh yeah, and this is Simmerstone now. He's had a bit of a growth spurt, you could say. Eventually, your god beast will evolve into an absolute god-slaying beast. Each night, you'll have to carefully prepare for these invasions by utilizing defensive building structures, assigning defending bounties, and equipping new gear to your defense squadron. But the enemies don't just attack at nighttime, you'll also encounter them throughout the overworld and dungeon events. Scattered across the overworld, there are a bunch of dungeons which occasionally spawn in enemies in these previously mentioned events. In order to put an end to these pesky sewer rats, we first need to explore the dungeon with a single adventurer to unlock its expedition.
For those who
Squeak.
master.
The dungeon expeditions can then be later attempted by groups of adventurers, as they descend down the levels to accomplish the expedition goal. I really like the idea of the dungeon expedition tasks, but in my opinion, this is one of the only areas that the game falls short in. The entire expedition overview is presented in a small text box logging everything that happens without actually showing it. In my opinion, this feels like a bit of a downgrade compared to the overworld combat, which is spectacular to observe and fly through. One aspect I can praise is having some perks tied into exploring the dungeons, like the jailbreak card, which allows you to recruit enemies fought in the dungeons. This is a great addition, and having more interactive mechanics like this tied into dungeon raids would be a lot more helpful, making them be more interesting and memorable. In comparison, the overworld battles and nighttime raids are just so much more satisfying to watch than the dungeon expeditions, being much more engaging, having you directly assign bounties to attack enemies and defend buildings on the fly in real time. To assist with taking down the hordes of enemies that are unleashed at nighttime, you are able to make use of perk abilities to unlock new features. At the start of the game, you are presented with 3 initial perk spins, being able to access new battle abilities and recruitment centers within these chest spins. You can also unlock more perks later on by fulfilling quest requirements as you progress through the game, providing some rewards for assisting to defend your town. Let's see what we can unlock here. The tax collector moves faster perk?
The jig is up! He's coming around twice per year now! Everybody get down!
Anyone who selects this perk might be morally pure evil, but it does help significantly for the game. After all, we're all about collecting money here. Collect gold first, ask morality questions later. I'm also quite partial to the furry conduit perk. Pause.
Hey, what are you looking at me like that for? I'm not the one that writes these scripts, I just read them. Hold on, wait a sec.
Speaking of questionable relationships, Gold Adventure Gold implements friendships between all of your town residents. As your villagers carry out their daily lives, their actions will have favourable or negative effects on their fellow residents. I wonder how old Simmerstone is fitting into the village. Let's have a look here and Simmerstone hates Mutu?
Real quick, how much is the bounty to sell Simmerstone? I'll wager everything I have.
The citizens are extremely expressive and evoke a lot of emotions and animations, which is refreshing, but I just wish there was a bit more depth to the relationships. Simmerstone likes Smjörk? Well, I do too. He looks like a stand-up guy, but what exactly does this do? If there were some more bonus features like combined unique moves for characters with max levels or some more unique interactions, it would benefit this feature greatly, as I can see it being one of the most interesting aspects of the game, especially as this game lists the Cult of the Lamb as one of its inspirations. There's a lot of potential for the relationship aspect, so I hope this gets expanded upon in later releases. But now let's move on to the two features I enjoyed the most about this game. My first favorite feature of this game is its unique shifting point of view perspective. Initially, you will view your town from above, but alongside zooming in and out, you can also shift your perspective to be aligned with the ground, providing a close-up first-person perspective of the world. This is an extremely immersive viewpoint, allowing you to watch your townfolk leisurely stroll about performing their construction, all the way to my favorite, viewing Simmerstone absolutely wallop all of the enemies with a premier front row seat. This feature is really great, as the game's art style is really gorgeous. It has fantastic hand-drawn-esque sprites and animations for the residents, and a great blend of colourful and vibrant 3D buildings and surrounding landscapes. All of your characters really pop to life when you view them from different up-close perspectives. It's a really great feature. However, what truly makes this feature elevated to a new level, really impressing me as I played, is the buffs that activate depending on your line of sight perspective. When you closely observe your god beast or adventurers, they get the camera boost buff.
I will always have my eye on you, Simmerstone. You are the hard rock candy of my eye.
Just don't roll around near this pond. Oh, the perspective power-ups allow you to specifically assist certain residents within your eyesight radius, making you play an active role in fights as they progress, rather than just being stationary and watching with little inputs like many other simulation games. I was further surprised that there were certain perks that revolve around this mechanic. My personal favorite is the Burning Gaze perk. This allows you to slowly damage enemies just by looking at them.
Just like me when I try to avert the burning gaze of TikTokers recording in public shops. Ah, it burns!
While playing the game, there were often situations where enemies were advancing in and I would place attack and defensive bounties, but they had the positional upper hand and started to tear down my buildings. The Burning Gaze perk was a fantastic way to slowly start damaging them once I had set up my defensive measures, as it gave me, the player, something to do to assist with the fight in a really unique way. I also really enjoyed that the zoom factor directly scaled out the damage output. This is some real Eye of Sauron level power. This extra layer of combat integration and control really makes the game stand out from typical defense games. I hope a lot more unique perks are centered around using the player's perspective, as it's a blast to use. Alongside the diversity present in the viewing controls, there is also just a lot of general quality of life features for accessibility in the game. At the bottom right, there is a small mini-map which shows a map, but you can actually directly click on it to instantly warp to that location. But by far my favorite feature is being able to use the spacebar to immediately pause all of the action in the game, while being able to continue viewing your world. There's just something so satisfying about being able to quickly pause all of your residents and drift by them frozen in time, then immediately resume their actions. This is also a great feature for helping with decision making during frantic enemy invasion. If you find yourself being extremely overwhelmed, you can use the pause feature to temporarily strategize your next steps before resuming.
If I could freeze time, I would
pay all my taxes on time to ensure the little Stuart doesn't report me to the taxman. Now let's move on to what I found to be the second most unique and interesting feature of the game. I briefly covered the god beasts earlier in this video, but let's dive into one of their main gameplay features to uncover what they're truly capable of underneath those innocent, forgiving eyes. You are able to invade your god beast's home to carry out an essential part of owning a pet: behavioral discipline. In their house, you are able to view their recent actions and use tools to reward them or discourage them on their recent efforts. Constructing and repairing buildings? Fantastic work, god beast, you get pets. But oh my, paying taxes? Bad cat. Using these tools will actually train your pet to do more of the actions that you praised and less of the non-desirable activities. This allows you to specifically train and adjust your pet's AI throughout your playthroughs, offering a lot more diversity on replay attempts by always being able to create a different pet behavioral style. My last song of praise for this title is the soundtrack that accompanies your god beast training adventures. The songs will slowly fade in and out, similar to Minecraft, while you're going about your day-to-day life. The tracks are mostly calming instrumental tunes which are an absolute joy to listen to. But by far my favorite track, which caught me by surprise, was this song with vocals.
The ambient music and vocal tracks work extremely well, accompanying the fantastic visuals and unique perspectives of the game. It's easy to get immersed in your growing village. The overall presentation and style of this title is cohesive and focused, which is certainly one of its greatest strengths. Moving to my last segment of the video, I want to quickly touch on what I think could be improved. There are two primary gameplay modes in the game. The first is Wave Survival mode, which lasts 6 complete in-game days, and then there is Colony mode, which has endless nights at an easier difficulty. My favorite of the two is the survival mode. I really enjoyed fighting waves of enemies every night and buying new recruitments myself, which are two features that are not in the colony mode, which is much more laid back and forgiving. I wish there was a way to continue the wave survival mode past the 6 days, as I found this mode to be a lot more fast paced and enjoyable, relying on you directly participating in battles to succeed. Despite the wave survival being the harder of the two modes, the difficulty of this game is very easy. I was able to make it to the 6th day in the wave defense mode relatively quickly in my playthroughs. More mode options or increased difficulty options would be my biggest suggestion for what would bring me back to playing more of the game. The dungeons were the main aspect that I found to be slightly boring, not adding too much to the gameplay overall. I like reading what is happening to my adventurers as they explore, but I wish I could see them or interact with them while it happens. The overworld combat is a fantastic example of how this could be improved. It's super fun to see your characters fight against monster waves, setting attack and defending bounties, with the addition of eyesight perspective mechanics that will buff your team members and make you actively assist with the fights. There were a couple of slight performance issues mainly encountered when you were expanding the map, but I'm not going to go into this in too much detail provided this is early access and it's likely to be improved in the future. The art background splash screen of all the building interiors was also the exact same for all building types, so I hope that these get expanded later on. Overall, the game was surprisingly polished for an early access state. The only thing it is really missing is more content in the late game, encouraging players to survive as many days as possible. I would love to see more biome types and variety to explore in the world, dungeons which you can enter and interact with, and even rival colonies and towns that you can invade and potentially take over. The map art style and presentation is absolutely gorgeous and stunning when combined with the immersive camera controls. There just needs to be slightly more interactive point of interest to scout out. The perk system is a great example of how it varies the gameplay. You can unlock new recruitment facilities through perks, which randomizes which characters and playstyles you'll adopt for that run. Perhaps some map randomized features or late game objectives would really help keep the game super fresh and engaging in the later days. All in all, I was pleasantly surprised with the gorgeous presentation of this title and how it cleverly incorporates perspective-based camera mechanics and unique AI sculpting with the god beasts. Gold Adventure Gold provides an exciting, fresh simulation experience, and I'm eager to see what new features are added to the game's completed state. But now let's jump into making my review a completed state with my thoughts on the game. Gold Adventure Gold is a bold combination of multiple genres mashed into one delightful simulation experience. The game revolves around your gold currency to defend your castle village, set out on adventure quests to expand your map, defeat enemy waves, and raising your god beast. The god beast you adopt will be your best companion in the title, as you can curate unique behavioral patterns for it to automatically perform by praising or scolding what actions it has performed. This allows you to experience a unique god beast playstyle AI on each playthrough, giving you the option to concoct whatever role you desire. An aspect of the game I enjoyed the most was the creative use of camera controls being utilized in combat. You can swap between a top-down view to a first-person view to get an inside peek on your village everyday mishaps, but what impressed me the most are the perk abilities allowing you to buff your characters and damage enemies by aligning them with your viewpoint perspective. This provides a level of interaction into the combat which usually isn't present in simulation games. Combining the unique camera controls with the fantastic presentation and art style of this game really makes it shine. It allows you to really live inside the action of your villagers' everyday life and their intense battles, even giving you the option to pause it at any time to take it all in. Gold Adventure Gold has some great unique mechanics going for it. In my opinion, to improve the experience, the only thing it needs to expand on is its game mode options and late gameplay. I really enjoy the nighttime enemy raid mode, but it is limited to only 6 in-game days. I would absolutely play more of the wave defense mode if it was endless like the colony mode. The dungeon expeditions are a bit limited in comparison to the immersive perspective-controlled overworld combat, so it would be great to see these expanded alongside more map variety and point of interest to keep you engaged in those later days in the runs. More difficulty options would be a great addition too, as I found it quite easy to get past the initial 6 days and would love to continue mowing down waves of enemies with my destructive, evolved God Beast and ethereal vision powers. There are some optimization issues I ran into, such as destroying the map checkpoints, completing dungeon quests, and expanding the map, but I expect these will be improved in later builds. Overall, the game does run smooth, and it is in an incredibly stable and polished state for an early access build. Gold Adventure Gold is a great title that stands apart from its inspirations, shaping its own identity with some solid features. At its current state, it is a delightful simulation experience with unique traits. I'm eager to see how the game mode variety and late game content expands with later releases. In my opinion, it's worth picking up the game currently, and it easily offers up a 7 out of 10 experience. I was really surprised by the level of polish and creative features of Gold Adventure Gold and had a great time reviewing it. It's a great example of how a game formed by many existing game inspirations can shape its own identity with some solid mechanics. With my review complete, I want to know what you all thought about this debut game from a new studio. The perspective mechanics and the AI training of the God Beast were my absolute favourite highlights, but what did you think? Let me know what you enjoyed about the look of the game and if you're gonna play it yourself in the comments below. I appreciate sticking through the entire review. Also comment Bow's Gold below to let me know you watched the entire video. Thanks again, and as always, I'll catch you in the next one.